A crucial weekend, crucial hours for Greece. With me to discuss what the Greeks could do in their referendum on Sunday is Martin Wolf, the FT's chief economic commentator. Martin, thanks for joining me. First question, obvious question. If you were Greek, how would you vote on Sunday?
Well, I'd probably vote yes. It seems the obvious thing to do. That is to say, agree to accept the proposal, which unfortunately the Eurozone ministers have now said doesn't exist. So, and you certainly don't know what will follow from this yes vote, but it seems to be slightly less risky than the no vote.
In your column this week, you suggested you might be tempted, though, to vote no. You said it's a choice between the devil you know and the devil you don't know. What would be the grounds for voting no, do you think, if you were Greek?
Well, basically the argument would be the programme that is on offer from the Eurozone is unworkable, which it is. It couldn't work as it is. It clearly will need a lot of change. It more or less guarantees continued stagnation for a very prolonged period. The Greece just isn't working within the Eurozone. You need your own currency. You need self-government. And that you should have sovereignty and decide these things yourselves.
But if Greece did vote no, how serious would that be for the, well, that's for the global economy? Let's go beyond the Eurozone even. It would be a shock like it might have been in 2012?
I tend to assume that it won't be a big thing. But of course, I have to say that I didn't expect the Lehman failure to do what it did. So I'm very chastened by that, as many people are. But I tend to think that this is a small matter, just a very small country. Everybody's known about it. There are lots of firewalls to manage it. Above all, the ECB can manage it. And so I tend to assume that the short-term effects of a Greek no, and then possibly an exit, not guaranteed, there are other possibilities, would actually be perfectly manageable for the world economy. But as with most of these things, you never really know until it's happened.
So Angela Merkel would presumably, if she were campaign emphatically for a yes vote. How dangerous do you think a no vote would be for her?
Well, I think she certainly would want a yes vote. I mean, I'm not at all sure her finance minister would. I think Wolfgang Schäuble would be quite happy to see a no and get rid of these terrible people, this turbulent country that's created nothing but problems for the others. But Angela Merkel is cautious, conservative. She doesn't, I think, want and the exit of a country which would clearly damage the credibility of the Eurozone. Now, if it were a no vote, I think that she would probably feel, well, the Greeks have made this choice. The programme is unworkable. We're just going to have to find some way of getting them either into a Cypriot-type situation, exchange controls permanently, or, if the worst comes to the worst, a managed exit. And she'd cope with that because it's their decision. And on the other hand, as far as the Eurozone as a whole is concerned, it would require, I think, greater strengthening. And I'm not sure how far she's willing or able to push Germany to make the Eurozone itself more integrated.
OK, what about the role of the European Central Bank? Crucial. Do you think that they can contain the fallout from a Grexit?
That's an intriguing question too. Yes, I think they can contain the immediate fallout from a Grexit. They can create as much money as they want. They can manage any flight from other countries' banking systems perfectly well. The actual details of managing an exit, if that was what happened, so that Greece moves to its own currency, is going to be very, very complicated for the ECB. It's not, I think, something that's actually allowed for in the treaties, and nobody really knows how that would work. So the problem of Greece itself, which, by the way, owes a lot of money to its central bank, which is part of the system, and I presume those losses would end up to some extent with the ECB.
Which would create a credibility issue for the ECB.
Maybe.
But there's also an issue about whether it would need to do more QE and whether the QE will continue to function in the way it continues to be a success, or whether that would be endangered as well.
I don't think it will be affected at all. They're not buying Greek assets anyway. So they would continue to buy the other assets. That is actually one of the reasons the other markets are so stable. So I think the QE programme, unless I'm missing something, will continue completely unaffected.
And what about the Federal Reserve? We expect a hike, the market expects a hike from the Federal Reserve sometime this year. Do you think that would be affected by whether it goes a yes or a no?
No, I think for the Fed, unless this does lead to a meltdown in Europe, which I think is more or less inconceivable, the Fed will be much more affected by far more important things like what happens to China and, above all, what happens to the US economy itself. That's the core issue. So I think from their point of view, this is a fairly removed difficulty. The people in America are really concerned about this are the administration, and particularly the foreign policy side. They're concerned about the political implications, the geopolitical implications of a failing state in the eastern Mediterranean. That really is concerning.
I asked you right at the beginning if you were a Greek how you would vote, but as a concerned observer of the global economy, can I assume that you would be an emphatic yes voter on something?
I would want the vote to be yes, but I would then want it to be followed by a programme from the Eurozone which is credible and workable, and we don't have it yet. And the IMF has underlined this. This is not a sustainable debt situation. There has to be some resolution of the Greek debt problem as part of the of any further programme. Indeed, I think the whole programme needs to be restructured.
What would you put in that programme?
Well, the most important things, in my view, are to stop the further austerity now. There shouldn't be more fiscal tightening in the next few years. Do something about the debt. Ideally, commit to a debt write-down after the completion of structural reform proposals, and to make the structural reform proposals the core of the programme and focus essentially on the governance of the country. It's the long-term institutions of the country that need to be improved.
Martin, let's stop there. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.